Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jared. I'm here with TC Model to bring you guys Froyotech versus Black Swan. This is RGL Invite 6's Season 16, Week 3A, and we have some sunshine up on the table for you guys tonight. Haven't been able to cast too many matches this season, but this one is definitely one you're not going to want to miss because it's two playoff prospective teams. So far have not received any losses in the matches they have played so far, but that is all going to change once tonight is over.
It is all going to change. Question is, who is going to carry on with that undefeated record and who is going to have to go down with a loss in the books? I think it should hopefully be a really fun one here on Sunshine. We were talking a little bit earlier that, these teams have only played once before in, I guess, both the combined preseason and how long this season has gone at the moment. So a little bit untested against each other, maybe just trying to keep some things in reserve, some strategies in the backlines, but they're going to have to use it here now as finally Froyotech getting into the game, getting into the lobby. And speaking of Froyotech, I mean, both these teams kind of a little bit of an amalgamation of different invite teams that we've seen previously. We already said, but on Froyotech, you've got kind of, at this point, what you can expect to be somewhat of a commonplace Froyo roster. I mean, you've got Banny, who is the Froyotech mainstay, probably the TF2 invite mainstay at this point. But then you also have people like Patty and Hubada, who have played for Froyotech before, Yite. But then you also have people like Brand Slam and Laz, and then with an addition of Yite, it's kind of looking a little bit more like a Witness x Froyo kind of mashup there, Jarrett.
Yep, it's always interesting to see how everything shakes out after a LAN season, because these teams come, they play the LAN, and then they are taking a break, and everyone's left with like a portion of a team left remaining. Got to do some merges and stuff, so it's always interesting to see where all the cards fall. But Black Swan is not so inexperienced. Despite it being technically a move-up team from Advanced from last season, a majority of the players have plenty of playoff invite experience on this revamped version of the roster. So you definitely can't count them out, despite the accolades that a lot of the current Froyotech players have collected so far. Here on Sunshine, I mean, it's at this point a pretty staple map. It's not really considered an upset map. Scout Heaven for sure, maybe some sniper gameplay to be seen to kind of throw you for a loop every now and then. But I always think that early on in the season is some of the best time to watch these TF2 matches, because even if you try to compare a lot of stuff on paper, it's really difficult to try to say who is going to win or how they're going to win or how exactly everything is going to shake out, like the metrics of everything. Because, like you mentioned before we were talking about, these teams, I think, have only played each other once so far. They've been focusing on other scrim partners. I think the amount of sunshine that you have under your belt as a team is probably pretty minimal. If there was a time where Black Swan was going to come out of the gates and pull up an upset, I mean, early in the season it would be now, and boy would it be a story if it was Froyotech. But we are here live, heading to the first mid between Froyotech and Black Swan.
Watching Banny, who's here on that demo. The Pipe Jesus might return, but it's actually going to be Laz when an aggressive early bomb flanks around back onto the clock tower, a bell tower there. He's going to be back up with his team to get healed up. Seems like they're rotating, but now the soldiers bombing in Patty and Laz. They commit in onto the map, going to be able to take down Foxy. Now all eyes on Hubada. Are he going to be able to stay alive? Seems like it, but the soldier bombs in on the point, does a lot of damage to Hubada, but just barely is going to be able to stay alive, and that's going to be the first mid-win for Froyotech.
And one of the sins of Sunshine, trying to do that ring around the rosy mid where you pass by your own Tetris to get to their valley to aggress, but Froyotech saw it coming from a mile away, immediately pounced and just bombed them as soon as they got behind the Tetris. No vision, and that's going to be a dead medic that allows them to continue their stranglehold over mid and find themselves in a position to potentially push last. Getting the kill on the Brand Slam, very good by Ether. Actually extremely dangerous, because if that Uber just gets called and Ether dies, then it's for sure lost. But the high risk, high reward play works out. Brand Slam delayed a little bit, allows them to build up this gun, get closer to an Uber of their own for the side of the red team, but with Brand Slam respawned, surely they could take the full Uber ad with Yite. They're looking like they're going to go left side from their own perspective, going in, immediately popping in, trying to get onto this gun, is going to get taken down. The cross, not going to happen. It's going to play the point. The soldier's bombing over. He needs some cap time, but it's going to end up to his own death for the side of Quack. Yite continuing to play the cap. They're kind of all in low ground though, but they're still collecting all these kills. So is the high ground going to be enough for the side of the red team? The kills are getting collected, and it seems like despite their early aggression from the side of Froyotech, red team, they're still holding on. Black Swan, they still have some gas in the tank, but Darty, last one left alive. despite shoving them out through lower, the rotation unstuffable coming in through that left-hand side, once again able to, albeit being a long push, do succeed and collect the first round of the game.
Yeah, that was looking so good for Black Swan early in there, because like you said, they did push them, they forced them into lower, but maybe they got a little bit too aggressive there. They kind of fed to trying to force everyone of Froyotech firmly out of mid, and that just allowed Froyotech to come in for the repush. But now here on the second middle, once again, Banny versus Ether, and it's going to be Ether being initially bombed by Laz. He's going to jump back, and now we have a very aggressive bomb coming in from Trip, does a lot of damage onto Hubada. Hubada still barely staying alive, even as so many players that try and commit onto him. But can Foxy do the same? She's going to have to run out all the way from Choke back in through Shutter as Froyotech aggressed, and they have won the midpoint, but maybe a little bit of a silver lining for Black Swan. They didn't lose their medics, so it is going to be even Ubers on last, but still not how they'd liked these first two mids to go.
Yeah, that was definitely a mid by the side of Black Swan where they just called it, you know, full out, send it for Hubada, see if we can try to kill him with both our soldiers, and just back up and you know, cut your losses, and maybe we can play with ad later, but Rockets didn't quite hit the mark. Hubada lives, and after this kind of scuffle inside lobby, going to be losing two players on the side of Black Swan, so the defense is going to be a bit light here. They do have one person rolling out, one person capping, so only have so much in the tank to pressure, but here with Grand Slam going,
what?
Actually just runs in and kills Ether, and is basically a 1v2. Getting diff there in the pipe from Banny, takes down Darty, forces Trip to go ahead and reset, so they're unable to actually block the point properly, but the Uber still hasn't come out yet. Yite dying as well. That's something pretty bad for the side of Froyotech because they don't have scouts to actually put the pedal to the metal. So Patty bombing in onto Foxy. She is going to be able to get back in spawn, and you know, they are going to be able to keep sending it in player after player and getting some trades at the end of the day. But the thing that aren't traded are the Ubers, as you know, the pick advantage for the side of Black Swan. They're poking around, but I don't think they want to commit here.
No, they don't want to commit. They were thinking about it. They had the opportunity. Both Froyotech soldiers were down, but I think with Quacks being down, they thought it was just a little bit better to play it a bit safer. Now we do have a little bit of scuffle over in lower. Tripwire going to get the better of Yite there, and so Trip might have an opportunity to go for something. He is now in a 1v1 with Laz. Laz is going to win that one as they do try and peek into lobby. There is a scout juking around. It is Exile. They're actually spending a lot of presence over in lower. Black Swan is, as a Quacks goes down a little bit weak there, and because of it, this right side area from the defense perspective super wide open. They take down the gun. The soldiers gonna fly in. That's Laz gets so deep. He actually gets launched up by Ether with a nice pipe, but they still get the force. Doesn't matter how many air shots you get. Your medic did have to use there, so now Froyotech gonna have uber advantage.
Yeah, some opening windows for them to bomb in, and overall a nice team in from the side of Froyotech. They actually sent in a lot of players in, and I don't think the Black Swan was actually properly set up. They were still trying to back up a lower, re-heal and everything. The gun had just died to the spam properly, so that definitely made it really, really good to get that sack in. But full ad for the side of Froyotech. They have their players finished rolling out for the most part. Yite's on his way, but he doesn't immediately come in for the Uber anyway. Trying to get some vision, I think, is Bransom to see if he can find out where the gun is, what's the best door to pop through. Can't get quite an eye on it. It is going to be in the corner, kind of hidden away, but they are going to go through lower, immediately popping in onto the demo. Bandy going in deep, kind of alone. He's going to caught up, though, by his medic, and the gun will eventually go down. Not a lot of stickies on the point, so Bransom going to corner cap it, bring Tripwire in, and immediately melts. Oh my god. Oof. Black Swan, they're starting to drop a little bit. They're on top of the point. The Uber eventually comes out, and they don't have a whole lot of chasing classes, though. The pipe, Hubada stuck in. Does he have the jukes? He eats one sticky, but lives at 34 HP, and is eventually out. The rotation, it's going to be Bandy barreling forward at Ether, trying to get him killed. Same with Branson. Running forward, Ether has to reset, so just heavy low on the point. Spam down by the side of Patty, and they double scout on top of the point. The re-push is from the side of Froyotech. Even though the first push in isn't so good that they can't just stay and win like that, they still show that even though something goes well for Black Swan that allows them to hold on for just a little bit longer, it's only delaying the inevitable, collecting the second round in this game 2-0.
Really great stuff from Froyotech. Second time they've won a point with a repush on Laz. Now, once again, Laz getting a little bit aggressive over on that house over there. It's just going to be playing around as Froyotech wrap around into Tripwire in the flank of Black Swan. Now the soldiers coming in once again, trying to get on the Hubada. They do so much damage, but not enough to get the kill. Foxy all the way back in Valley. Both matters kind of disconnected from the midpoint, but Froyotech, they just have the high ground presence. They have the player advantage, and they are going to be walking away with another mid win.
Extreme deja vu, except this time Darty is stuck behind. They're really just saying, screw it, just kill Hubba if you can, double bomb him, but he's staying alive. They're surfing pretty well, and they don't really have all the players here to actually maintain plat from the side of Black Swan. It's just being, oh, they're, okay, they eventually get forced. The nice pipe onto Foxy will go ahead and get that out. Killing Glass is going to be pretty good for them, and Darty is still behind, actually maybe even killing Patty as well. So this post might be pretty okay. Trip is behind, cutting them off. This could be really good for the side of Black Swan. They're just scattering for the side of Froyotech. They're dropping like flies. They're all over the map. It's just Hubba and Banny left alone inside Valley, and Darty is still behind and could catch them. He's coming from the side of Tetris. He's blindsided. Banny gets 2-shot, and the same can be said for Hubba, who's pulling out the pan, but it will not be enough. Darty living behind the entire time. I'm pretty sure he got 2 kills all by himself and gets the remaining 2 as well. So overall, clutch plays from him, and very good from the side of Black Swan to maintain their hold over plat, even though that Uber exchange was really bad at the beginning from on their side.
Brand Slam up on the sniper in the forward spot. They kind of know Ether has it trapped up, but now Brand Slam is going to backspawn, so heads back over to last with the rest of his team. Still going to be up on sniper, so Froyotech do have to worry about that. Maybe just pop initially around the corner, not try and milk anyways, lest they get their medic's head blown off, but this is a really good opportunity for them to get a point on the board, make it a real game on our hands. They're going to be coming in, bombing in their demo. Ether getting launched up sky high by the sentry gun. It does go down, getting some early cap time. Scout going to be flashed, so they don't die there. They have so much cap time right now, and they're all on the left side. They do get one. Foxy does go down, but they are still going to have player advantage for the meantime. Froyotech doesn't have Uber just quite yet, as Laz so weak on the point. If they can clean them up, they might be able to do something, and they do. They get Yite as well. That's going to be no heavy. It's only Banny and the medic. That's not enough to block the point. That's going to be the first round for Black Swan.
I don't see which soldier it was, but one of those Froyotech soldiers bombed a medic without Uber post. So that definitely didn't really help things a whole lot, because if Black Swan still has the health to keep barreling forward and just chew down that heavy's HP, then that's what's going to happen. But overall, 2-1, still in Froyotech's favor, but Black Swan putting themselves on the board. So we'll go ahead and see how this mid unfolds. Trip immediately taking high. It doesn't seem like they're going for some sort of double bomb play immediately onto Hubba. They're deciding that's not really working so far in their favor. Taking over this left-hand side. A little bit of a battle inside the blue cafe between the soldiers, and Foxy actually goes inside cafe to help Trip, but now they're kind of just stuck off in a corner. They're running forward, both these scouts onto the soldiers inside cafe, and it's just the remnants of Black Swan left alive, trying to find a way onto any player at all, onto Hubba in particular. Bomb from Quacks, one rocket, but he's surfing away, he's gone, and overall, another Froyotech victory when it comes to the mid-fights.
Another one. That time they tried to swap things up, like you said. They didn't go for the insta-bomb, but Laz kind of just being a nuisance in behind, even though he didn't do a lot of damage. He forced so many people into Cafe, and then Froyotech was just able to mulch on them, but there's a sniper so far forward. It was Exile, and this just might allow Froyotech to just walk in cleanly. They do have Uber advantage, and they don't have control of second just quite yet, but they could have taken the space, but instead gonna wait until they do have that second point. Froly capped up, and now they are gonna go in with the Uber, doing a lot of damage, chasing down Quacks behind the point. They are going to be able to get him. They don't have any cap time just quite yet, but they do have 2 picks in their favor. Banny finding both of them now, getting some cap time on the point. A big bomb coming in from Patty onto Foxy. No one to help her out, and that's just going to be Froyotech standing on the point while everyone's distracted, making it a 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one person dying with the Uber is kind of unfortunate, but the Bandy going in with that Uber and collecting 2 is going to be Finn there. It's a 64 post Uber, and it's kind of an uphill battle at that point. You really need a miracle to hold on to that. And it didn't really seem like Black Swan had much in the tank after that. So maybe a bit of a different defense could have things more fortunate for them, but it is going to be a 3-1 in Froyotech's favor as we're headed on to our 5th mid.
5th mid here. Maybe Black Swan might have some type of opportunity, some type of game change to figure out how they can defeat Froyotech on these mids. They're not going to go for the aggressive bomb once again. They are going to rotate this time. Gonna chasing Patty, but Yite is just running in, takes down Ether. Really good early kill. Hubba, however, is super weak. Might be able to get Trip. Oh, but Tripwise not going to go on the aggressive here. But Black Swan have to do something. They did lose their medic on the mid. They're trying to get in onto second. Hubba, however, is so far back, super protected, and seems like everyone in Black Swan is gonna once again die in Cafe, sorry. It looked a little bit better for them, but once again, in the kind of chaos DM fight, Froyotech were able to regroup, kind of collect themselves as a team, and they won another mid.
Honestly, props to Hubba, because most of the mids he's taking a severe amount of damage, but is still living throughout it all. There's a fine line between, like, especially if you know that their game plan is going to be to eventually like try to take you out of the picture. Like, not baiting so that they can just kill your teammates that aren't getting healed by you because you're too far away, but still showing yourself aggressive enough, you know, not so far so to like immediately die, you know, having some room to move around and especially get these nice surfs out is, you know, paying off in huge ways for them. Once again, another ad that, I mean, it's kind of hard to use. It's 10 ad at this point. I mean, red team's gonna get the Uber once again, but that didn't stop them before. They get the kill on the trip. The gun is still live, but it's only level 1, so it's not that much of a nuisance. Will eventually get spammed down, but the red Uber is in play if they feel like they need it. Patty bombing in, same with could be Laz. Could be said for Laz. They will eventually get this force, but overall it's a trade of players. We see the rotate from coming from Froyotech. They're backing out of lower. Once again, finding maybe an opportunity to poke around. It is 4v4. If they want to win, they have to win now and fast before the respawn is coming from Black Swan. One already coming in, but they find Ether. Ether's just alone and gets killed, and the arrow comes out to try to keep Ransom alive a little bit longer, but both scouts dying here. Not quite as clean as previous times, so they probably just have to cut their losses and, you know, live with the fact that, you know, they still have ad because they pop first. They can just back up to 2, wait for the respawners. There's no demo man, and Darty's dead as well, so it's kind of hard for them to go in, but Trip finds an opening, lands on top of his head. He's still alive. He's alive throughout it all. You can see how much they're gunning for him, and it just doesn't matter at the end of the day.
It really doesn't, because that was a really great timing from Trip. I think the other soldier, Quacks, kind of pressured them over on a balcony there, but now Froyotech are going to come in with that Uber advantage. They force Ether into spawn. The Branson wants to be on flash so he can get some Captain on the point. Gets a little bit of it. Really great job from Quacks, just trying to lay that for as long as possible. Darty on the heavy just gets annihilated in this Froyotech focus fire coming out. The Uber from Black Swan has been used, but once again, it seemed like Froyotech are going to back out for the meantime, and then immediately push right back in. Patty jumping around, just being a nuisance, and that allows Froyotech to get onto the point, making it 4-1.
The amount of success they're finding early on these Ubers, despite constantly, you know, Black Swan finding a way to bail themselves out at the last second, really shows that the refinedness of making sure that the beginning of your Uber is that good that it doesn't matter if something comes out for the other team that helps them, is really paying off in huge ways. Getting those like 2 kills or whatever is just making sure that it doesn't matter if Black Swan gets their Uber in time. They've already lost because they just don't have like much left to fight anymore. So could potentially be the last mid here. We'll see what Black Swan has cooking up, or Froyotech will take it once again, or Puppet will even die. Foxy will be the medic death this time around. First one on the board, and Black Swan, they're kind of scattered, they're kind of weak. There's not really much going on. I mean, Darty is kind of causing them to bunker away inside Cafe. The rotation through choke will come now, as they do have a heal advantage to poke around. They've got to be careful of bombs coming in. But I don't think they're quite aware of how unhealthy some of the members of Black Swan actually are, so they are just playing it safe. They are going to go ahead and back up, and despite losing their medic, Black Swan, they are able to take their first mid of the game.
You know, it's the little things that count. A solid show of progress for Black Swan, but like you, they're not out of the woods because Froyotech, they have that Uber and they want to get in onto mid with it. Brandslam leading the charge, going to be making a little bit of space, and they're going to use actually immediately thinking that Black Swan might be caught in here. They don't find anyone. In fact, they are going to lose one. Darty once again with Tripwire, going to be going behind. Let's see if they can maybe have the similar success that they had last time. But Darty with the back cap has got a lot of time, forcing so many Froyotech players in behind. Is still going to be alive. Tripwire did die there, but I think Darty, not long for this world, is going to go down. So the flank of Black Swan has died, but they have definitely kind of nullified that Froyotech push onto middle, and Jared, they've got Uber ad now, and they can make their way onto second with so much time on the point already being capped up.
Yeah, it's really not only it bought time for them to make sure that they could hold on to mid, but for their Uber as well. It's kind of dwindling. They could just probably demo bomb here, honestly. And yeah, they're going to go for that angle because it's only so huge. Trying to find anyone at the shutter, so they're going to try to leave dungeon. Getting chased a little bit, Patty jumping away. And overall, it will be no death, so a bit of a leapfrog scenario here, but this cap will go underway, or at least they'll try to. Uber again from the side of Havada. They're walking out. They're not popping through immediately. They're kind of getting caught. This cap goes their way, though. They kind of failed to block it. Now Darty behind is going to kind of force him to come back at least a little bit. He's still just running around in lobby. Banny has to back all the way up, so even though they kill him, Banny's not able to actually stuff these doors. They're able to work their way in through the choke, but they need high ground. They've collected none. They got into the choke, but that's only step 1, and Foxy might die. Chased down a little bit, pistol, not quite 40 HP, but with 2 dead, Darty and Ether, this is not going to be very good for the side of Black Swan. They have to completely escape out of mid, probably. Actually, wait, no, I forgot. They did get the cap. Never mind. I forgot for a second that cap did actually go through, so they're actually able to get the forwards. They have to leave one to cap, so they can't quite push with as large a player advantage. And No, they should be okay. They're finding themselves with Foxy's, just barely surviving there. Once again, Swan to push with a little bit bigger, so you don't necessarily have to demo bomb it. It looks like they are trying to take it maybe slightly slower, but no, the Uber will eventually come out, trying to chase into the shutter. The soldiers could be a kill. Nice fight from Ether, takes down last, so not quite a leapfrog. Look at that one kill, and Kabata lived throughout it all, 90% once again. Not going to be able to block, but they will eventually push, probably when last spawns.
Yeah, they do have an opportunity, and you saw that a lot of the plays that Black Swan have been making have been because of either Darty or Tripwire kind of getting in behind, and they tried to do that last time. Froyotech pushed out of their last, and it didn't really work out, but you can expect that they might try something similar. They're actually going to go through Dungeon and clear that route entirely. They get in without having to use Crucially. Seems like Black Swan wanted to try and stay in just a little bit, but with cracks going down, they're going to have to back up the mid, and now they have to worry about Froyotech barreling in onto mid, especially with Darty going down. Froyotech might not even have to use their Uber, especially now with Tripwire. 3 going down on Black Swan, and Froyotech have managed to use the threat of Uber, not even it itself, getting onto second, getting onto mid, and even on the Black Swan second.
Yeah, that's a hard lead there. That was just Bransam running at people. Like, he would disconnect from the beam, and with I mean, maybe a soldier would come in and toss a couple rockets occasionally, but really he was the one doing the brunt of the work, just running in and taking all the positioning there. But their luck of just taking stuff for free has kind of ran out, except for this free trip kill inside lobby. He was trying to go for a play. Exile dying as well. So overall, some picks to be gained. Maybe might make it a bit easier to spam down this level 1 to get a sack in on the medic, or maybe even walk in if they give you enough room. So gotta find some eyes here on how you're gonna take this. So they're trying to take the positioning on the left-hand side from the attacker's perspective, getting a little bit of cap time because Black Swan's hiding, but the pop comes through, but they don't have enough players to stuff the doors, they don't have enough players to get the force, and they barely have enough players outside of their spawn. Had the sniper and the engineer, I don't think Ether expected to need to be the one to take that exchange, and the miscommunication there is the nail in the coffin. Froyotech taking a 5-1 in 19-ish minutes.
5-1 in 19. A good job from Froyotech. Before we went live, we were kind of theorizing what the scoreline was going to be, and Jared, you almost got it practically spot on.
I said 5-1 and 25.
Yeah, but I mean, what, 6 minutes off? I think that's still pretty good with the exact scoreline as well. You know, remember to do your scores in chat, and you might win some channel points, but not just winning channel points, but winning the game. Froyotech having a very, very good showing. It didn't really look at any point during the game that they were really on the back foot. It was only during those times when Tripwire and Darty kind of came in behind that they were, liable to a bit of chaos from Black Swan, and that was the only time that Black Swan really seemed like they knew what they were doing. But aside from that, the mids, Froyotech basically played them really well every single time. Even the one that they did lose, it was essentially a win because they were able to kill Foxy, and they kept Hubada alive, so they're just able to walk right back into on the mid with their Uber advantage. So I mean, you win the mids, kind of win the rounds, and Froyotech proving that adage true today.
Yep. I think Black Swan showed that they definitely have signs of life early on, and they have some moments where they can find some success. The plays that they had as a team going behind, or even solo when Darty did it solo, and what little they did to try to push last when they had the opportunity was enough. But at the end of the day, it was actually funny. As soon as the game ends and we're in the dead time chat still in the STV, Trip is saying it right now. If I was, 5% better, then Hub wouldn't have lived on like single-digit HP at mid, all those mids. And Trip's not wrong. Like, sometimes it's a little thing. And some of those mids, if Hubada did indeed die to like the double soldier bombs and like the surfs weren't as good or the rockets were more on point, then maybe Froyotech still wins the mid potentially, sure, but it's not a straight roll to last because there's no longer Uber advantage in play. And maybe some stalemates happen on 2, Black Swan is able to find those moments where they can like run around and get people behind and go for these plays, because you can't really do that defending last. And it seems like they had some troubles defending last as well. If, had it showed at the beginning, showed it in the round that was the nail in the coffin for them, right? So they were kind of forced into a situation where they couldn't really play to their strength just based on how the mids kind of transpired. And yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes the things you're good at, you don't really get to display in your matches. So you got to be well-rounded, and Froyotech, I think that's a pretty good description for them, well-rounded.
100% well-rounded, and you basically mentioned it, but shout outs to Hubada, only having 1 death compared to Foxy 6, which I mean, it's a 5-1, so you kind of expect, one medic to probably die a bit more than the other. But considering the amount of bodies at Black Swan, and it really seemed like their game plan was going for Hubada early on the mids. Very impressive that Hubada was able to stay alive. And it's not like Black Swan didn't get anywhere near Hubada. They were getting on Hubada more often than not. It's just that, Hubada had some good surfs, had some good movement, and also the team were aware enough to be able to defend Hubada and kill all of those people that were trying to get onto him. So good job from Hubada and Froyotech as well. And like you said, Black Swan really only a few hit points away from maybe producing a very, very different match result tonight. So definitely not all down and out for them, like you said. And this is only the first time that they've played in this season, so they are going to play at least once more. So they can definitely go back to the drawing board, maybe figure out if this is just a sunshine issue, or maybe on something like Snake Water or a different map like Bagel, they can produce a different result against these guys, because otherwise they were looking fairly competitive. But at least for now, Froyotech going to be going on as the undefeated team in Invite. Let's see if maybe someone throughout the rest of the season can put an end to that. But so far, seems like they're on a pretty good roll.
Yep. Can't wait to see what else is going to be coming up in the future week between these teams and some of the other opponents that we have, like the Chuds or like the Wall, Global Clan. We'll see what's in store. But I think for the most part, I think that's a pretty done deal when it comes to tonight. 5-1 Froyotech. I think it might be time to move on to shoutouts and stuff. Any final thoughts or shoutouts before you close out the stream, TC Mono?
Ooh, well, shoutouts to the players for playing, because without them, there'd be no game to cast. Shoutouts to all you guys for watching. Shoutouts to Dolphin for all the amazing production work that he does behind the scenes. The GOAT, the legend. Shoutouts to you, Jarrett, for coming in, casting. It's always great to hear you cast. You've just got such an insight, amazing depth of knowledge of the game, and you're just one of the most hype casters recently, and I've just been enjoying your cast when you do get the cast, so it's been lovely to be able to cast with you again, because it's been a while since we've casted together, and since you've casted in general, so great to see you back.
Yeah, I've been addicted to playing on low scrim advanced teams. I got to peel away today. Team died, so I'm free tonight, but are there any promo stuff or anything, Dolphin? Or no? Oh, there's new merch. We have new merch again.
Ooh.
So definitely go ahead and check out the merch. I assume the link is probably the same, shop.rgl.gg or something, or merch.rgl.gg. So if you want to take a peek at some of the merch that's available for this season, I'm pretty sure it's probably still like seasonally, right? So it's not going to stay forever, but you have a little bit of time. It's still early on the season, but at least take a peek and get your mind churning on if anything piques your interest. But definitely shout out to everyone for watching, and TC and Dolphin for casting and doing prod, and the teams we're playing, etc., etc. But that's going to be pretty much it for us tonight. I've been Jarrett, casting with TC Mono, with Dolphin on production. Thank you, and good night.